Hello and welcome to That British Homestead. My name's Nick and today I thought I'd take you around, do some weeding down the allotment. So let's get started. Weeding's probably not the most glamorous job out there, but it is the most necessary. Weeding a garden patch means that you are able to smooth more space for your plants to grow, which is very important because everything's competing for light, water and nutrients. Weeding's probably the least favourite of all the jobs down the allotment though. So normally what I do is I put on a good audio book and I just go to work on it. I have spent the last day or so weeding down here because you have to keep on top of these weeds, because if you don't, they will definitely spread like crazy. This area here, Jasmine's little area, she has done quite a decent amount of weeding, but I like to come in and give her a bit of a hand when she's not here. So there's two types of weed that you need to know of. There's your perennial weed like bindweed and your grasses, and then you've got annual weeds like, I'm not sure what these are called, but these ones, and there's loads of them around. Annual weeds means that they grow every year, so they grow, they go to flower, they go to seed, and then you pick them, and if you pick them before they flower, you don't get the root weed seeds, so therefore you don't have that issue. Perennial means that they stay forever. And if you keep picking them, they should die away completely. Stinging nettles is another good example of that. You've got your biannuals as well, like this great dock. That's a biannual plant. It will flower in its second year, and it's the seeds that it grows from. By reducing the amount of weeds you have, it will reduce the amount of pests that you have directly. So for example, if you have less weeds, you do have less rabbits because there's nowhere for them to hide, and snails for the same reason, which is very exciting. So it does have a fundamental impact on the garden, although not always the most pleasant thing to do. I have noticed a big impact the allotment. Most of them, all you have to do is simply pull them up, as you can see. It's not that difficult. However, you do have ones you have to dig out, which are not my favourites, but I'll show you. Get behind this bad boy, try not to tread on any strawberries. So you just dig down to the bottom, and by pushing the knife in, it cuts the tap root. And that comes out, it's quite a big one. Try to get them before they get to that size, but definitely before they go to seed. And the more you do it, the easier the weeding will be. So one way that you can actually reduce the weeds is by using some mulch. So there's different types of mulch that you can use. For example, wood chips. Wood chips work really well, or you can use black plastic, that works really well as well. Or what you could do is like a no-dig bed where you lay down newspaper and you cover it with compost. That's another great way of reducing weeds, but there's only one really good way, and sadly that is to pick them. So the more you pick, the better you get, especially this time of year. We're in June, May, June, July, August. The weeds are crazy. I went to one of my friend's plots the other day and they dig like most people do or traditionally do. And oh my days, the amount of weeds that were on their plot. oh my days, like I literally can't believe how many I was. So like I went over there, and I don't know if this is what you do, but like if I go to someone's allotment, I feel like rude sitting there doing nothing. So I started weeding with them and pulling these weeds out. The weeds were, I'm not gonna lie to you, they were prolific. They've only had their plot for, this is their second season, so the first season doesn't really count because you never get an allotment at like a convenient time. It's not like you get it, oh, the 1st of January, or really it'd be better if you went into it like November sort of time, so you get all the plot ready, and if you're gonna dig it over, etc. Anyway, they got it, I can't remember when they got it, but they got it at most probably an inconvenient time, because you always get it at an inconvenient time. I think I got mine in October. Anyway, so they got their plot and they had a baby straight afterwards. So you can imagine that after you have a baby, I can't imagine that they run down with the umbilical cord attached and started weeding. But anyway, I'm sitting over there and oh my days, I weeded so much. I weeded for a couple of hours over there, and it's just so much more than what I've done here. It's tiny little weeds, lots of annual weeds, not so many perennial. So this resulted in a lot of issues with weeds. With no dig, you just simply don't have that many issues with weeds compared to digging. You still get some, of course. There's no method that has no weeds, it just reduces them. And I was thinking to myself, oh, this method doesn't really reduce weeds. You can see I'm pretty much, assume that I'm always weeding. But it is amazing when you actually look in comparison to somebody who's actually doing it the opposite way. Not that the methods are much better than each other. I mean, after they weed a couple of times like I do, it does reduce, so that is very good. And their perennial weeds are a lot better than my ones. There's always methods to madness, isn't there? To be fair, I haven't weeded this particular bed for a long while. Probably about a month. No, maybe more than that. Maybe 7 weeks, which is quite a long time. But there is always rewards of weeding a strawberry bed. That one's going to the chickens. I've like given up on the old weeding now. I'm just picking strawberries. Ah no, my strawberries. Weeds. I think another issue when you're weeding down the allotment is this. You can weed, but you can see I'm pulling out all the bindweed, and the bindweed's actually coming from the border of next door. Now next door's plot is immaculate, look. It's really lovely, but they haven't weeded this part, and all their weeds are coming up over to my part, which is not their fault obviously. But there's a saying that when you are on an allotment is, if you don't go down the allotment, you can't see the weeds, but your plot neighbour can. And that is extremely true, that saying, because for example, you might go down your allotment like once a month or something, but your plot neighbour, like me, I come down here every day. And when you are next to a plot, like my second plot across the way, I used to come down here all the time. It used to frustrate me. I used to physically see the weed seeds. blow across my plot, and it used to really get on my nerves because I just spent the entire day weeding, and then a gust of wind is bringing all these weed seeds across. So you can see how it can wind someone up. That's why if you've just got a plot and you want to make, you know, a big impression, is just go out down to your pot and cover it, because that person has been next to a vacant plot for goodness knows how long, because the person before you is probably not done the best job, and that's why they've been evicted or left or whatever. So it's always good to cover up your plot as quickly as possible. It's like a show of good faith, and you'll find if you turn around your plot quite quickly, like everyone and their mother is going to be so happy about it and so willing to help. Most people down the allotment are willing to help you. Like I said, I often go down to other people's plots and help out if they need it. We watering, feeding chickens, you name it really. I think it's important that we make a little community. We actually have, every so often, little community barbecues down here for plot people. I think that's quite nice. Look at that whopper, that's huge, it's massive. I think next year I'm going to take up this black plastic and just horse manure it. I might actually do it this year yet. I've got some more asparagus to go in, so it'd be nice if I could do that and take this black plastic up so the asparagus has more room. So what I was thinking, when I was thinking to put the black plastic around the asparagus, to be honest, it didn't work at all. Ugh. It needs a little bit more room than the average plant does. God, I'm going to feel so good about myself later on once all of this weeding's done. So this is my root stout bed. It does have less things like bindweed on it. I don't know if that's just happens to be that way, or it's because of the root stout method. I'm not sure, but it does have more weeds than other beds do. As the substrate starts to break down, that's the issue that I'm finding on that bed. Although the black plastic's not much better. It reduces them though. But it is funny having to weed black plastic. Ooh. All the carrot seeds that didn't grow last year have grown nicely this year. I am leaving these carrots to go to seed to collect the seeds, which will be really good once they do. There's that thing's eating that one. The more you are able to collect seeds, the better overall your seeds become, because they become more acclimatised to the area. And that's why you want to get rid of them weed seeds as well. Where the hay is actually a little bit thicker, it's worked out quite well. I'm weeding out potatoes out this bed as well. Don't want them in the bed. What is a weed? A weed's something you don't want, right? I grew potatoes. No, the people that had the plot originally grew potatoes there, so I don't want them there. Another great way of being able to reduce the weeds in the allotment is to only spot water. As you can see in the background, I'm definitely not doing that. I'm watering everything, but you can just spot water, meaning you only water the bits you want to grow. So you only water around certain plants so that the weeds don't get any water. You reduce their ability to grow and thrive, which makes them less able to grow effectively, which is what you kind of want. But I'm a little bit hypocrite because it does take a longer time to do that. Another dock. A lot of bindweed here.